The halls of Amenti, according to the emerald tablets of Thoth, are a place where they created these gigantic stone boxes made out of diorite and crystal granite, and these boxes allowed them to put bodies in them, and supposedly bodies with no soul. And they would transfer their consciousness from one body, from their mind to the next body, one body to the next, and they would leave and walk out of these boxes, and they would say they will walk amongst men but unlike men, while they had an empty sleeve inside of these chambers recharging. According to Thoth, there's halls of Amentis in many different places, and two that I feel that I have discovered is one underneath the pyramid of Saqqara, the step pyramid of Saqqara, and another complete halls of Amenti at the Serapeum, about 50 feet underground in Saqqara as well. Underneath Giza, they discovered this plateau underneath the sands, going a mile out underneath the sands of halls. That was about maybe 7 years ago now. The halls in that particular location were all empty, but the halls, the archway halls, were actually there, or are actually there, which is wild. Now, there's a special shaft that I take people to when I take them to Egypt and take them on a special VIP private visit to the Great Pyramid. We spent about 4 to 5 hours there. And there's a shaft called the subterranean shaft that hardly anybody in the world has ever been into, and access is extremely limited. It's locked and chained and everything else. But when we go there, we take the chains and the locks off. We've got the key. And we take you down, if you'd like to go down this 65-meter shaft that goes down, all the way beneath the Great Pyramid, about the length of a football field. Then another 40 meters drop from there in a straight down angle, vertically going down. There's even more than that down there. So underneath the pyramid is this huge, it's like a whole nother world of shafts and entranceways and closed off doors and everything else, leading to other tunnels and shafts and other places that go underneath the sands of Giza to the halls of Amenti and many other places. This particular halls of Amenti, they claim, is empty. And that's pretty interesting. I don't believe that it's empty, but if it is, okay, it is what it is. They're not going to let us get down there. But there's more than one halls of Amenti. Thoth talks about the fact that, for example, his father, Enki, had halls of Amenti. The 7 lords also had these different halls of Amenti. Enki had a halls of Amenti. So these people were utilizing these chambers, these halls, and these crystal diorite boxes, which were radioactive, as some type of a tool or mechanism to recharge bodies while they were utilizing other bodies. And these bodies weren't stolen bodies. According to them, they fabricated their own bodies. In other words, just like the movie Avatar, they made their own avatars, which is incredible. Same thing we're trying to do today. Let's take a look at what Thoth is saying here. He says, I, Thoth, the Atlantean, master of mysteries, keeper of records, mighty king, magician, living from generation to generation, being about to pass into the halls of Amenti. He's saying right now in that particular verse, he's saying that he's letting you know who he is and what he's capable of and what he's known for. And he's saying that he's about to descend into the halls of Amenti. In other words, knowing me in this particular form, in this avatar, is only temporary. You won't see this avatar again, because I'm about to go and transfer it to another body. I'll put this one in the chamber and let it rejuvenate for 100 years. He would put a body in a chamber for 100 years at a time. He's talking about getting ready to descend into the halls of Amenti, not so he can die, but so that he can actually live. These records of the mighty wisdom of great Atlantis, set down for the guidance of those that are to come after, in the great city of Kior on the island of Undal. In a time far past, I began this incarnation. He's talking about the fact that he had already began the incarnation in that body that he's talking to them in, from the halls of Amenti located on the Kior, on the island of Undal. So there's a place called Kior, and in this place, okay, there's a halls of Amenti, and it's located somewhere on an island, and the island is called Undal. He's talking about his ability to consciously decide when to incarnate. He incarnates at will. As a matter of fact, in the Emerald Tablets, he says he incarnates on and in the plane he desires. We're talking about planes, plane meaning dimensions. So he can incarnate in different densities even. This is a skill that takes a true ascended master and a true understanding of the physics of the universe, which according to him he has obtained. Thoth says, 100 times 10 have I descended the dark way that led to light, and as many times have I ascended from the darkness into the light, my strength and power have been renewed. Then he says, now for a time I descend, and the men of Chem shall know me no more. So he's saying at that point, that at that moment, in that particular avatar body, he was going to descend back into the halls of Amenti, and he was going to put that body away, let it recharge in the chamber, while he left and used another body and went somewhere else to do another mission. So it says, understand here that the men of Chem refers to the people of Egypt. Yet notice that we get our word alchemy from this Egyptian name. He says that he has descended into the halls of Amenti, where his regeneration chamber is. Certainly, we can understand the concept of cellular regeneration. He says that he spent a total of 10,000 years, 100 times 10, regenerating his avatar over the course of many eons. Thoth says, purposes yet unborn in the womb of time, long ages I dwelt in the temple, learning ever yet and ever more wisdom, until I too approached the light emitted from the great fire. Taught me he the path to Amenti, the underworld where the great king sits upon his throne of might. Deep I bowed in homage before the lords of life and the lords of death, receiving my gift, the key of life. Free was I of the halls of Amenti, bound not by death to the circle of life. He's talking about the fact that at this point he had become a master of incarnation. In these words, Thoth explains he has now overcome reincarnation. He has now achieved the ability to consciously incarnate at will and transfer his mind into any new body. Now for a time I go among them into the dark halls of Amenti, deep into the halls of the earth, before the Lord of powers, face to face again with the dweller. Raised I high over the entrance a doorway, a gateway, he's talking about a stargate, leading down to Amenti. Few there would be with courage to dare it. Few passed the portal to the dark Amenti. Raised over the passage I, a mighty pyramid, he's talking about the Great Pyramid, using the power that overcomes Earth's force. He's talking about anti-gravity in ancient times. He's talking about using the power that overcomes Earth's force. He's talking about using something that overcomes gravity. Anti-gravity is what he's talking about 36,000 years ago. Deep and yet deeper place I a force, house, or chamber. From it I carved a circular passage, reaching almost to the great summit. There in the apex set I the crystal, which is missing now from the top of the pyramid, sending a ray into time-space, drawing the force from out of the ether, concentrating upon the gateway to Amenti. So in some way, the apex crystal that's missing from the top of the Great Pyramid used to harness some type of cosmic energy, and he utilized that energy in tune with the pyramid, which is the machine itself, to keep the bodies or those chambers recharging the bodies or regenerating the bodies. It was one of the sources of power. He says, other chambers I built and left vacant, all to seeming, yet hidden within them are the keys to Amenti. So we see he has some fake halls of Amenti in case people stumble on some and discover them. And then they look empty, like there's nothing there. But there is something there for the one who has the key to access them and utilize them. So this is just incredible. This is an incredible level of knowledge. This is an incredible level of advanced and forward thinking. It's superior thinking. We are just now today trying to barely scratch the surface to this level of technology that they achieved tens of thousands of years ago.